There is a city in China called Xiong'an, where the traffic lights decide on their own when to turn green, where water pipes send alerts before they break, where you can fill out government paperwork without ever talking to a single person because the city's AI does it for you. Every road, every power line, every public service in this city is being watched and managed by artificial intelligence 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without a human making those calls. And this is not a small tech campus or a corporate experiment. This is a real living city with over 1 million people, hundreds of skyscrapers, schools, hospitals, and highways, all plugged into one single AI brain that never sleeps, never gets tired, and never misses a thing. 8 years ago, this place was empty farmland. No roads, no buildings, no people. Just open fields stretching as far as you could see. China looked at that empty land and decided to build the most technologically advanced city on the planet, from absolute zero. And here is the part that is hard to believe. They are actually doing it. Most people outside China have never heard of this city. That is exactly why you need to know about it. Because what is happening here is going to change how every city on Earth gets built from this point forward. If you enjoy stories about technology doing things that seem genuinely impossible, please hit the like button right now. It takes a lot of effort to put these videos together, and your support means everything. And subscribe so you never miss what we cover next, because we find stories like this every single week. What you are about to hear covers everything from a city brain that predicted pipe failures days before they happened, to a place that literally exists twice at the same time. By the end of this, your idea of what a city even is will be completely different. Now let us get into it. A city drowning in its own success. To understand why this city even exists, you have to think about Beijing. Beijing is one of the most powerful cities on Earth. Tens of millions of people packed into a space that was never meant to hold that many. Roads jammed at every hour of the day. Hospitals so crowded that people wait days just for basic care. Office towers stacked so tightly together that entire neighborhoods barely see direct sunlight. The air is thick, the commutes are brutal, and every solution anyone tries seems to make things only slightly better before the problem grows right back. But here is the strange thing. Beijing was not failing. It was actually succeeding too well. So many people wanted to live there. So many businesses wanted to set up there. So many government departments were operating out of there that the city was slowly being crushed under the weight of its own success. It is the kind of problem that sounds almost funny until you are the one sitting in 3 hours of traffic just to get to work. Most governments in this situation would do the obvious thing: build more roads, add more metro lines, expand into the suburbs. These are the usual fixes. Slow, expensive, and mostly temporary, because within a decade the problem just comes right back. You are essentially pouring water into a bucket with a hole in it and calling it progress. China did something almost no government on the planet would dare to try. They decided to build an entirely new city from scratch. Not expand Beijing, not renovate it. Start completely fresh on empty land with a blank canvas and build something the world had never seen before. In April 2017, China officially announced the creation of the Xiong'an New Area. The site sits about 100 kilometers southwest of Beijing, roughly a 2-hour drive away. And the ambition behind this project was unlike anything the modern world had ever attempted. The plan was not just to move people and build houses. The plan was to create a city where technology was not added later, the way it has been in every other city in history, but where it was baked in from the very first brick, where the roads, the buildings, the pipes underground, and the public services would all be designed around artificial intelligence from day one. China was trying to answer a question no one had ever properly answered before. What does a city look like when you build it for the 21st century instead of the 19th? What do you get when you do not inherit 100 years of bad planning decisions? What happens when the infrastructure and the technology grow up together at the same time, learning from each other, supporting each other, right from the start? The answer to all of those questions is called Xiong'an, and to make it work, they built something at the center of this city that genuinely sounds like it belongs in a science fiction film. The brain behind the city. Every city in the world has systems running underneath it. Water, power, traffic, emergency services. But in almost every city you have ever been to, these systems are completely separate from each other. The traffic department has no idea what the water department is doing. The power grid has no connection to the hospital system. They all just run alongside each other, isolated, slow, and constantly leaving gaps that nobody catches until something breaks and people start complaining. Xiong'an threw that entire model out. At the heart of the city, there is a building called the Urban Computing Center. From the outside, it looks like a stunning piece of modern architecture, a curved structure with a glowing blue sphere at its entrance, sitting beside still pools of water that reflect the whole thing back like a mirror. But what is happening inside is even more remarkable than how it looks. This building is the city's brain. Every single sensor, camera, traffic light, underground pipe monitor, air quality detector, power line sensor, and government system in the entire city sends its information to this one central place. All of it, constantly, in real time. There is no department that keeps its data to itself. There is no system that works in isolation. Everything talks to everything else, and this one building hears all of it. Think about what that actually means. Right now, the Urban Computing Center knows exactly how many cars are on every road in Xiong'an. It knows the water pressure in every underground pipe. It knows the air quality on every block. It knows how much electricity every neighborhood is pulling at this exact second. It knows if a traffic light is about to fail before it actually fails. It knows if a pipe is under stress before it bursts. It is watching everything, everywhere, all at once, and it never gets distracted. The numbers behind this system are hard to get your head around. The Urban Computing Center has already collected over 33 billion data records from a city that has only been running for a few years. That works out to roughly 33,000 data points per resident, every single year. For comparison, most entire countries do not collect that much data about their infrastructure in a full decade. And in 2025, Xiong'an went even further. They connected one of the most powerful AI systems in the world, called DeepSeek, directly into the Urban Computing Center. Now the city does not just monitor and manage itself. It can have a full conversation with you. Residents can ask the city's AI assistant about government services, local rules, permit applications, and daily city life, and get a clear, instant answer, the same way you would text a knowledgeable friend. Except this friend knows everything about the entire city, has read every rule ever written about it, and has access to live data about what is happening on every street at this very moment. The result is a city that handles problems in a way no city in history has ever been able to. A normal city finds out about a burst water pipe when someone's street is already flooded and residents are calling to complain. Xiong'an finds out 3 days before the pipe bursts and sends a repair crew while no one is even inconvenienced. A normal city gets a traffic jam and then scrambles to manage it after the fact. Xiong'an sees the early signs of a jam starting to form and reroutes traffic before it ever becomes a problem. That is the brain. But the body of this city, what is actually built into the streets and running underground, is just as remarkable and in some ways even harder to believe. Roads that think and a city that lives twice. Let us start with traffic lights, because this one example tells you everything about how different Xiong'an really is. In your city, traffic lights run on a timer or on basic sensors that check whether a car is sitting at the intersection. They are mostly dumb. They do not know what is happening 3 intersections away. They do not adjust to what is coming down the road. They just count seconds and switch colors, the same way they did 50 years ago, just with slightly fancier hardware. In Xiong'an, the traffic lights obey the city, not a timer. The city has over 500 kilometers of what engineers call digital roads. Every stretch of road is embedded with sensors that track vehicle count, speed, direction, and density in real time. The AI processes all of this information across the entire road network simultaneously and adjusts every traffic signal in the city on the fly. If a road is filling up, the lights further back slow incoming traffic before the jam even starts. If an ambulance needs a clear path across the city, the entire route ahead opens up automatically before the vehicle gets anywhere close to those intersections. No traffic officer, no manual input, no radio calls between departments. The city works it out on its own, all the time, better and faster than any team of humans ever could. Now go underground, because what is happening beneath the streets is just as impressive. Running under Xiong'an is one of the most sophisticated underground systems ever built. Water pipes, electricity cables, fiber internet lines, and gas lines are all bundled together inside specially designed underground corridors. Every section of this network is packed with sensors measuring pressure, temperature, and flow. If a water pipe is building up unusual pressure, the system flags it automatically. If a power cable is running hotter than it should, the city knows before anyone loses electricity. Maintenance teams are sent before anything breaks, not after. The city is constantly performing a full medical checkup on itself every minute of every day. And connecting all of this, above ground and below, is a network of over 5,600 5G towers spread across the city. Every sensor, every camera, every smart device, and every autonomous vehicle communicates through this network at speeds that make regular mobile internet feel like something from the early 2000s. But here is the part of Xiong'an that tends to make people go completely quiet when they hear it for the first time. Xiong'an exists twice. There is the physical city, the one with the roads, the buildings, and the people. And then there is a perfect digital copy of that city living inside the computing system. Every building has a digital twin. Every road has a digital twin. Every underground pipe, every power line, every public space has an exact virtual version that updates in real time as the physical version changes or ages. The moment something shifts in the real city, the digital version reflects it. Engineers and city planners can log into this digital Xiong'an and test decisions before they ever make them in the real world. Want to add a new residential neighborhood? Run it through the digital twin first and see exactly how it will affect traffic patterns, water pressure, power usage, and school capacity across the entire city before a single brick is laid. Want to know what happens to the power grid during a summer heat wave when every resident turns on their air conditioning at the same time? The digital city simulates it and gives you the answer in minutes, not months. Most cities in the world are basically flying blind. They build something, it causes a problem no one saw coming, and then they spend years and hundreds of millions of dollars trying to fix it. Xiong'an has cut that entire cycle out, because it can see the consequences of its own decisions before it makes them. It is like having a rehearsal for reality. A physical city and a digital city growing up side by side, learning from each other in real time. That is the most revolutionary thing about how Xiong'an was built, and it connects directly to the other side of this story: the money, the people, and the enormous human challenge of actually filling a brand new city with life. The price tag, the people, and the challenge. Building a city that thinks does not come cheap. So let us talk about what this actually costs, because the numbers are genuinely staggering. As of 2026, China has invested over 860 billion yuan into Xiong'an. In US dollars, that is somewhere around 120 billion. And the city is still under heavy construction. The full build-out has not happened yet. Some estimates put the total long-term investment, once Xiong'an reaches its full planned size, at close to 580 billion US dollars. To put that in perspective, that is more money than the entire yearly economic output of most countries on the planet. More than the GDP of nations, with tens of millions of people. This is one of the single most expensive construction projects in all of human history. And China made this investment deliberately, strategically, with a very clear goal in mind. Over 1 million people already live in Xiong'an today. The long-term plan is to grow that number to somewhere between 2 million and 2.5 million residents. To help build the city's population, China has been relocating government agencies, technology companies, universities, and research institutions from Beijing and moving them here. Major financial institutions, including the headquarters of several of China's largest state banks, have already made the move. Universities have opened new campuses. Hospitals have been built to world-class standards with equipment that most cities in the world simply do not have access to. On the business side, over 500 software and technology companies have set up operations in Xiong'an. More than 60 major artificial intelligence companies have moved in. There is a dedicated AI industrial park operating within the city, alongside innovation centers focused on robotics, smart hardware, and satellite navigation. Xiong'an is not just a city being run by AI. It is quickly becoming one of the leading places in the world where the next generation of AI is being built, tested, and launched. The government is also making it very attractive for people to come on their own. Tax breaks for businesses, subsidized housing for skilled workers, fast-tracked permits, world-class schools, and medical care. Because here is the honest truth that Xiong'an's planners fully understand. The smartest city in the world means absolutely nothing if people do not actually want to live there. Technology serves people, not the other way around, and the people have to choose to show up. There are real challenges here too, and it is worth being honest about them. Attracting people beyond those who are relocated by government directive takes time. Building genuine community, local culture, a sense of neighborhood belonging, the kind of thing that grows naturally in cities over generations, is not something any AI system can manufacture. These are deeply human needs that no amount of smart infrastructure can replace. As of 2026, Xiong'an is still finding its feet in this area. The technology is ahead of the culture, and closing that gap is the work of years, not algorithms. But the trajectory is moving in the right direction, and the pace of development is faster than almost any urban project in recorded history. Which brings us to the question that actually matters most, not just for Xiong'an, but for every city being planned, built, or reimagined anywhere on Earth. The blueprint every city will follow. Here is the bigger picture that most people completely miss when they hear about Xiong'an. This is not just China building an impressive city for itself. China is building a blueprint, a working, real-life proof that a city can be designed, constructed, and operated in a way that is fundamentally different from every city that came before it. And if that blueprint works, and the evidence coming out of Xiong'an in 2026 strongly suggests that it is working, then the rest of the world is going to be paying very close attention for a very long time. China is already sharing this model with countries connected through its Belt and Road Initiative, a network of over 140 nations across Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America. Many of these countries are facing their own massive urban growth challenges right now. Millions of people are moving into cities in these regions every single year. New urban areas need to be built quickly, affordably, and in a way that actually works for the people living in them. And if those new cities can be built the Xiong'an way, with AI woven into the infrastructure from day one, these countries could leap past 50 years of messy, expensive, trial-and-error urban development in a single move. That is not a small thing. That is potentially one of the biggest shifts in how human beings live on this planet in the next 100 years. Think about how different that is from how things have always worked. The pattern every city in history has followed goes something like this. You build the roads and the buildings first. Then, decades later, when the technology finally catches up, you try to make it smarter. You dig up the roads to add sensors. You retrofit old buildings with new systems. You patch together different technologies that were never designed to talk to each other, using workarounds and band-aids and temporary fixes that cost a fortune and still barely work. It is slow, expensive, and deeply wasteful, and every city on Earth is currently dealing with the consequences of that approach. Xiong'an completely breaks that pattern by proving you can do it the other way around. Design the intelligence first. Build the city around it. Let the two grow up together from the very beginning, so they are never fighting each other, never playing catch-up, never incompatible. And even in cities that are already built, in Europe, North America, across Asia and Australia, planners and architects and city governments are going to start looking at Xiong'an as a reference point. Not to copy it directly, because you cannot tear down an existing city and start over, but to understand what is genuinely possible when technology and urban planning are treated as one single discipline instead of two separate things that occasionally bump into each other. Every new district, every new suburb, every major development project built anywhere in the world over the next 50 years is going to be shaped by what Xiong'an proved was possible. There is also a deeper question that Xiong'an is answering for the very first time in human history, and the answer matters far beyond any single city. Can a city genuinely run better when artificial intelligence is handling the infrastructure? Can traffic flow more smoothly, pipes last longer, energy be used more efficiently, and government services move faster when AI is doing the behind-the-scenes coordination that humans have always struggled to get right? Based on everything coming out of Xiong'an in 2026, the early answer is yes. Not perfectly, not without challenges, not without the very human difficulties of building culture and community from nothing, but meaningfully, measurably, and undeniably yes. And that answer has consequences for every city, in every country, on every continent, for the rest of this century. The empty farmland that became a city. The city that grew a brain. The brain that is quickly becoming the new blueprint for how humanity builds its future. If this story changed how you think about cities and what technology can actually do in the real world, please hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps more people find this channel and discover stories like this one. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what we cover next, because there is a lot more where this came from. And I want to hear from you. If you could pick just one thing for AI to fix automatically in your city, one problem you deal with every single day, what would it be? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and the best answers might just make it into a future video.